conversation or convo. Today, I am your host, Dr. Fidgetal. I'm glad to see you back. Today, we have a special treat, one of my favorite content creators, the real Randy Chavez. I have been watching Randy for years, and most of us already know Randy, but for those of us who don't, you'll get a chance to, listen to this legend. Please feel free to leave some messages in the chat that we can get answered for you. But we're going to talk a little bit about VeVe, a little bit about, OMI, Pokemon, and also DaCat. So without further ado, I would like to bring on our special guest, Mr. Randy Chavez.
Hey everyone! Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi.
Randy, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a busy man because you do your own streams and you don't just do them at 8, you do them randomly in multiple streams a day. So I really appreciate it.
We
And by
do.
the way, you have a stream later today, don't you?
Yeah, a couple hours. It'll be mostly about the questions that we got yesterday from the new Snap to AR or Snap to Location. VeVe officially announced Avatar, and that was cool because we actually discovered it on the app. But I think there was some internal panic because it wasn't supposed to happen. They didn't address it. They just and then they address it now. So we get that on March 14th. So I'll go over a little bit of that as well. And yeah, all the good stuff.
All right. So, guys, if you have not liked and subscribed to Randy, please make sure to do so. He is an awesome content creator and obviously one of my favorites. So, I'm a little partial, obviously. But today, for the collectors, what we're going to do is we'll start off with a few questions for Randy. We'll kind of go over those different things that we talked about with VeVe, with Pokemon, with DaCat, and then a lightning round, Randy, to kind of pick into your brain there. And then we won't keep you too long because I know that you do long streams and I know how your back hurts. So,
It's all
but
good.
for those who don't know who Randy Chavez is, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Oh God. Okay. So started off in a high risk lending in 2017, my first big boy job after the military, and then we did that for a couple of years, basically lending out money to business owners that had like 500 and 600 credit. Most of which they had that credit because they didn't pay their bills, but some of them they got divorced. The business owners like were over leveraged because they were using stuff on credit cards for materials, but they were owed a lot of money. It's like, okay, this is really good business. The credit is not reflective of the health of the business. Once you really get in there, look at the bank statements and all that. So that really helped because you get to get like 24.99% interest on every one that you do, and some of them they don't take a year. Some of them they want to pay back in a couple months. They just need a bridge loan. So instead of banks that charge you a prepayment penalty, we would give you a prepayment discount. It was great, and that's probably what I'll stick my money into after all of crypto kind of runs and VeVe and OMI runs and all that. I got into some stocks. I did a super well diversified thing. There was Uber, there was Apple, there was Google, but then I really, really did a deep dive into Elon Musk and Tesla. After what he did with PayPal, and I went into the numbers just on the earnings reports. Like they're selling everything that they're making, and the stock has just stayed flat for 6 years. And it's like, well, they're not making money. Well, that's false. They are making money, but it's just they're taking those would-be profits and they're reinvesting them into making new gigafactories, into new vehicles. So like if had they not made these new vehicles, they'd be insanely profitable. And everyone, even the analysts on Wall Street, like, well, the car companies never had this multiple, but it's like they are more of a software company than anything. Exceedingly undervalued. So I sold the rest of my stocks, put a lot of money in there, made a bunch of money with Tesla. And then Pokemon cards was a big one as well. What I'm kind of doing now with VeVe Comics, I just went into like, okay, the first edition PSA 10 Hollow is selling for this, the 9 is selling for this. What's the difference? And that difference was around 5 to 8x multiple across all first edition PSA 9s and 10s, with the except depending on pop report. So any PSA 10 that was like 20x the 9, okay, the 9 is super undervalued. Or if there's a PSA 10 that was only like 2x the 9, okay, the 10 is super undervalued. And you'd only have to wait a couple months for it to like rebalance. And then the big claim to fame with Pokemon was buying a Trophy Kangaskhan for PSA 10. There's only like 11 of them in the world. at that grade, trophy card for 80 grand, and that was everyone told me that was a dumb idea. But a year later, I flipped it for 279 because I saw which way the market was going, and that was my claim to fame in Pokemon. And then got into YouTubing with all the Pokemon sales data, Tesla, political videos, Earth 2. Got partnered with Earth 2, and then I found VeVe because I was looking for Earth 2's crypto. I thought it might be OMI because they were teasing that it would be on GoChain. And then I found OMI and VeVe, and then the rest is history. So that's kind of what I've done to lead here the last few years.
Perfect. Now, Randy, what got you? So I know you kind of talked about why you got into, but like, what really drove you to start streaming, and then also to stream so aggressively? Like, you have become like the source of most people's knowledge when it comes to all things VeVe, Ecomi, Earth 2, Pokemon. So, like, what led you to say, you know what? I think I'm just going to consistently do this and just kind of become a voice for the different projects.
It's very weird. There's a app called E4, short for Elite Four for Pokemon. People will get that, and it was like a Reddit, but for all things Pokemon. A lot of which was for the TCG, was for the cards, and you had different threads in there and want to buy, want to sell, want to trade. You know what cards you thought had different cool artwork, differences between the Japanese sets and the English sets, and there was one tab on there called Sales Data. And it was just, hey, these are the sales data for, because so eBay was where pretty much everything was. Before Mercari was really big. Pokemon wasn't on Golden Auctions or anything at this time, but they had PWCC is a big auction house. And every couple of weeks, every like 4 weeks, they would have a 10-day auction where it would start on a Thursday night, and 10 days later it would end on a Sunday night. And you'd get a bunch of these first edition PSA 10 cards, and there are some of these because you want to buy from an auction house because it's verified. It's really big. They have like tens of thousands of feedback, all 5 stars, and sometimes you would get people that would only bid on the auctions and would not check eBay for other listings. Like, okay, this card is going for, the bid's already at like $50, but you see one on here for like $30 on eBay. Like, this is stupid. Someone's already willing to pay this. I'm going to buy this. So I was like one of the only ones in that thread on like a Sunday night. Guys, Caterpie just went for this. So the War Troll just went for this. And I'm losing my mind. And like every now and then someone would respond like, dope, cool. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm probably annoying people here. Let me just talk about this on YouTube. I'll make videos. And it started with just that, because there's so much data every day. And I was telling people what I was doing. Guys, I'm buying this. I'm buying this for ROI. I'm buying this because I like this artwork. I don't know where this goes. Buying this because I think it's cool. Different historical things that nobody had talked about yet at that time. This is 2020. And to get where I was doing 4 videos a day at that time. Eventually it would be one of Pokemon sales data, one of Tesla, and like 2 of Earth 2. Or there'd be like a political one in there, but there'd be 4 a day. And eventually, as I found VeVe, I was like, okay, this is obviously going to be huge. This has definite lasting power. And, I came having a decent amount of subscribers, and I outworked everyone. There was no one that made as much content as me. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a very huge company. If I can make myself important early, I can kind of ride the coattails here. And I did. And a lot of the success I've had recently, those past few years, was because of VeVe. And an unintended consequence with that is, you mentioned like how did you become like the news source that everyone kind of goes to. It started with me just like, okay, let me follow everyone on LinkedIn. Let me follow everyone to see who's leaving, who's going, what they have to say about it, and just different interviews from David and Dan over the years. But then it got so big, I didn't have to do that anymore. I still get messages every day like, hey, did you see this? Hey, can you cover this? So I don't have to do any of the legwork anymore. Everyone just sends me stuff. And that free flow of information is such an undervalued thing that nobody talks about. And it's how I get to cover things. Like, how'd you look at this? It's like from a random YouTube video with like 30 subscribers, and somebody's like, yeah, did you see this? And I would have never found that. And somehow people find it and they choose to share it with me, and I just like so thankful. So yeah, that's I can't watch if I took a bunch of Adderall and stayed up 24/7, I could not look for the information that's just given to me by other people that do that. So I'm very lucky in that aspect.
You know what, Randy? I think that so many people are obviously huge fans of you. You're like a celebrity in the VV community, right? But you're so down to earth, and you just say what you think, right? When we met at we met in New York Comic Con, obviously with Tammy Hanna. Shout out Tammy, and then also in Vegas. You were just like a genuine person. It was just so easy to connect with, right? We had a couple drinks, had a fun time. My wife got a chance to see you in person because she always sees me listening to your content, obviously. So it was really a really great moment to be able to meet you in person. But so for you, Randy, as a collector over the years, have you always been a collector, or did you kind of like just kind of fall into it? And what was your first VV collectible, Randy?
So this is going to be like the most autistic answer that you've ever gotten. Um, in Pokemon the movie 2000, there's it starts with this guy. I don't even remember his name. I've seen that movie like 30 times, but starts off with Slowbro talking about fire, ice, and lightning. The three legendary birds, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, and then you see this voiceover like this British guy who says like, he's a collector. It started with a Mew card, and then when he goes to capture, I think it's Zapdos or Moltres, he captures like our heroes, Ash and Misty and Brock and all that. Or I think Tracy's with him at this point. Brock's with Professor Ivy, hopefully getting some. And she goes and she's like, "Who are you? What are you doing to these birds?" And he's like, "Are you some type of poacher?" And she's like, "Or a trainer?" He's like, "I'm afraid I'm not a trainer, young lady. I'm merely a collector." And for some reason, that burned into my brain. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna be a collector like him. I like he's the villain. Like you shouldn't want to be like him. But I was I already had the cards and stuff. But I was like, you wanted him to battle. You like I didn't necessarily want to catch them all. I liked what Karen said in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. She said, truly skilled trainers try to win with their favorites. Like strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon, that's the selfish perception of people. Truly skilled trainers try to win with their favorites. I like you. You understand what's important. So I did that and part of what VeVe's motto is like collect what you love or collect what you like. And that's like I just got done buying a bunch of Squirrel Girls, which is according to Sleep and Comics, the D tier comic. You're gonna have negative ROI on that. Like you should not buy that. But I like Squirrel Girl. I think she's awesome. So I have like 50 of her now. My first VeVe collectible, I don't know. It might have been a Batman. Or I think they were out of the store by the time I got it in February of 2021. Um they were still in the store, but I was just buying the OMI token at that time. I didn't really buy anything I think until like March or April. And I think it was either Finn from Adventure Time or it was Ice King from Adventure Time. It was one of those two. Those were one of my first ones.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So now what drives your passion to collect, Randy?
I would
Because you are a
say,
collector of many things.
yeah. um, in Pokemon, in Pokemon it started because I'd always played the games. Like I've always been like I played the first two generations over and over. I would say in all Pokemon related things, I've probably done it between 30 and 40,000 hours. I got a Pokeball, so this is not just I do it for the money. Um, I would say when I first got into it, it was in 2018. Like this is like I had some of the cards like graded that my friend Joe got me into in like 2017. I got out of the military and had a little extra money. I was like, yeah, I'll throw some Pokemon cards. Like they're great. You don't battle with them. It's art. You look at them, like, okay, that's cool. But I had only a few of them, but I didn't really get into buying a lot of the graded ones until 2018. I had this liver issue where I was like, I thought I was like gonna die. Like my liver was like hecked. Somehow it like got better. I guess the liver can heal itself. But then a few months later, starting to get back in the gym, starting doing cardio, starting to, really get back in shape. And then one day I thought I had like salmonella because I drink eggs all the time. Like I probably drank thousands upon thousands of eggs in my lifetime, and I've always been fine. And suddenly my stomach was hurting super badly. I was like, man, this is like the worst pain ever. Like this is what I get for drinking raw eggs. But then it turned out it wasn't that. It was my appendix that was like exploding. So I like the Asian doctor had no bedside manner. Like, you have appendicitis. We have to come on now. And I was like, oh my God. So I like immediately like the one thing that goes through my mind, like I still didn't collect them all. So I immediately go on eBay as I'm like getting prepped for surgery. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this Pidgey, I'm gonna buy this Charmander, I'm gonna buy first edition PSA 10. And it was like literally like that, I would say life or death moment, but it's like this, like like emergency surgery. Like it's done. Like you if you were here any later, it would not be good. Like it would be a battle for your life. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna die, like if I'm gonna get this other chance at life, I want to make sure I collect them all. I collect all the ones, and I didn't have a plan. I was just like, okay, Pidgey, Charmander, these are the first ones that came to my mind. They're on Ash's team. But then as it evolved, use the pun. Time went on, and I just started taking a look at all the different sets. I wanted to stay within the WotC sets, the Wizards of the Coast, where they had the first edition, because those are the first two generations, and that's the ones that I specialized in before they got to Gold Stars and the E Series and all that. So I went to just look through all of them. Charizard was one of my favorites, and there's in Pokemon Snap, in the volcano level, you can throw like an apple or a pester ball at Charmeleon, and if you knock him into like the volcano, he evolves into a Charizard, and it can like breathe fire at you, and you get extra points if it's breathing fire at you. So you take pictures of it, and you can make albums in that. And in one, I just saved it, and I just made a comment on it saying like, "I love you," because it came out when I was like 8 or 9 or something. So super love you Pokemon. And then in Blaine's Charizard, in the gym challenge set, the Charizard looked exactly like the picture that I took in Pokemon Snap. Like, holy crap, this is like destiny. So I bought a bunch of him because of the artwork. And then I take a look, okay, who's the artist? It's Ken Sugimori. I collected all the fire Pokemon in that set, like all of Blaine. Then it was all of Blaine's. And then I just collected the whole set. I was one of 3 people in the world to ever get that set in first edition PSA 10. And then I looked at the artist, okay, Ken Sugimori, who unfortunately, there's so many restrictions on him for signing things. You can't find him. If something's worth $500, add a zero to it. It's worth $5,000. Something's worth $10,000, actually worth $100,000, because his signature is that like insane. But I liked a lot of his artwork that he did. Erica's Venusaur, Blaine's Arcanine, like so the artwork became super important to me. So I guess now the artwork can tell a story, but you could also make up your own stories with it as well. So that's what I like about the cards artwork, and I guess for VeVe, like I shouted out Gary Baseman the other day when Adam Weitzman came to X, and he's like, hey, what collection should I buy? And I was like, there's so many artists on VeVe and they're all incredible, but I have to give shout out to Gary Baseman. 1, because he's a friend, but 2, because he's got very strange artwork, and some of it's very dark, and it's like, I don't know, it makes you feel different things. And so I feel, I don't know if I answered your question. I feel like I just went off on a tangent.
But Randy, that's what makes you Randy, right? We have these conversations and they just kind of go. So now, question for you, like, so where do you more lean towards? Do you lean more towards comics, collectibles, or any specific ones that are your favorite collection?
Yeah, I've been trying to put my money where my mouth is. I had said for a while that the partner statue was probably the most important collectible, like in NFTs in general, at least right now. until Pokemon comes to the blockchain, then probably be Pikachu. But you know, and I kept saying that, and I was just held mostly OMI. Like I think I'd had one in the past. I'd sold one for kind of traded for a VeVe Gold logo. So I really like them, and then wound up selling them for more OMI. And then I just at that point I was just like, okay, I've been saying this for a while. I don't have it, so now I have 3 partner statues, and one's a 3-digit. I kind of want another one, but like there have been times where they've been like super cheap at like $600-700, and I missed out. So I did get mine at mostly like 800 to 900,
Nice.
and they're just under 1,000 right now. But again, that's really small, you know, because like if there's people here who've been collecting for years, their vaults are worth, you know, in the 6 figures. Some for like Dr. Profit in the 7s. But what I'm trying to do now is what I did before with the Pokemon card, saying, okay, here's the multiple. I've been doing that with comics, saying like, okay, what is the secret rare going for? What is the multiple of the ultra rare, the rare, the common, and see which one those are. And it's going to work differently because some have 10,000 mints, some have 30,000 mints. And also, even the ones that have 10,000 mints, not all of the secret rares are like the same, even within the same tier. Like B tier, there's a ton of them. C tier is a ton of them. I don't really go for the C tier ones. But in the A tier, there's, you know, like less than 10, and same thing with the S tier comics, according to Sleepin's VeVe rank. But even within the S tier, like Incredible Hulk #1, or I'm sorry, Incredible Hulk #181, First Appearance of Wolverine, and Avengers #1, both of those secret rares are under $500. They're like $430, whatever. And then you have Tales of Suspense 39, First Appearance Iron Man, Journey of Mystery 83, First Appearance Thor. And then you have Hulk #1, Hulk, obviously. They're all like $1,100-1,200 for the secret rare. So you should really compare those. Then you should compare Incredible Hulk #1, or I'm sorry, Incredible Hulk 181 and Avengers, because you can't. It's hard to compare the multiples of them if there's like a 3x difference between the secret rares. Then it gets really hard. But if you notice, like, okay, let's say for Hulk #1, it was like $1,200 for the secret rare, and the ultra rare is like 154. Okay, that's like an 8x difference or whatever. But that used to be like a 10 or even 15x difference. And then because the ultra rare was so cheap, and then the ultra rare climbed, it's like, okay, well, is that the new normal? And then you cross reference that with the multiples of whether it's X-Men #1, Tales of Suspense, and then you can find value that way. Be like, okay, the commons of these are, you know, 20, the rares are 40, but this rare is actually only like 23. Let me buy some of those. So are you going to make like $1 million of that? No. But it's just fun. Like, it's a fun way to, one, be able to make a little bit of money in finding things that are undervalued compared to its counterparts. And also, it gives you something to talk about on live as well. Be like, hey, this is what I did with Pokemon. This is what I'm doing here. I haven't sold any of these now. Because I think the market is, and I could, but it's like, okay, all this work just for like a 50%. Like, you know, $20 going to $30 is not that much. But I think it's easier to be able to take some of these and then hold them for a little while, because right now there's like 1,000 active daily users. It's pretty small. But I think that with the reverse merger, I think that with a lot of light that's being shown on VeVe, especially it being listed on NASDAQ soon, as long as it goes through, you can get a multiple of that before the end of the year. And that's before you have the narrative come in and you have people just going in and buying a bunch of NFTs, ETH rising. So there's a lot that has to happen. But I think just with the narrative coming in, you get thousands of more users just coming in for partner stature or whatever, and then they'll find their value in certain comics, because you have, let's say, like Superman. Superman's one of the most liquid on the marketplace. Like, there's a couple of him sold like every day, but he's beautiful looking, like he looks incredible. But the statue that he's based off of goes for a couple $100. So I don't know how high that's really going to go, but some of the physical comics go for like 6 figures. So, like, and I'm not saying that some of these comics that you can buy for $50, $100, like depending on what they are ever going to meet their physical counterpart. They won't. But if they're 1% of the physical counterpart, I think that gap can close a little bit and they could become 5%, which is a 5x. And I think that then it's worth it to be able to sell, to buy a bunch of these things. I think Incredible Hulk number 181 and Avengers number 1, like those are the lowest secret rares on the S tier comics, according to Sleeping Comics on VeVe Rank. And I think those catch up and at least do a 3x up to where the other ones are at some point. Now, once they catch up, where do the other ones go? Do they go to like $5,000, or do they just double? I don't know. That's the that's like Schrodinger's comic there. But I think a lot of them catch up to close the gap a little bit on their physical counterparts.
Okay. Now, Randy, are you more, so I'm a mint hunter, Randy. You know how I operate. I'm a huge mint hunter. Are you a mint hunter, or do you just collect what you love? You don't really care about the mint number?
If you were to ask me a year ago, I'd have been like, collect what you love. There's so few mint hunters out there, but the few that were out there, or maybe they've come in full force. You had a Boba Fett sell a couple weeks ago for 69 million OMI. You had another Dark Side of the Fist, the Ultra Darth Vader sell for like several $1,000s. RoboCop as well. Wait, was that you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So I did that one in the 1971 partners. Those two were mine.
Oh my God! Wait, why the 1971? I'm derping on why that year.
Opening year for Disney World.
Yeah. Okay. So again, a year ago, I would have said like, nah, forget it. But you being one of them, there are multiple people that are willing to spend like real money on some of these mints, and that's on the small amount of people that we have now. Again, you get another 1,000 people, not even, let's say 1% is a mint hunter, or they do whatever. Okay, that's another 10 people. Out of those 10 people, maybe 80% of them are, they'll spend a couple hundred, maybe a couple grand, but there might be one or two of those 10 out of that 1,000 that could be like a Rolex, or it could be like a prop, like could be like Oprah rich type of money. And again, like in this social media age, like you'll have a network of most people, like random people that are 30, 40 years old, that went through high school, had a couple jobs, had whatever. They'll know 1,000 people. And those 1,000 people know 1,000 people. Okay, so that puts you one away from, or two away from a million. And then, three away from a billion. So like I think a lot of the things that you do has a ripple effect that are a lot bigger than you think. And those people like talk to each other. So how many big players can we get? And it only takes a couple of those people to care about a certain mint, and then it goes crazy. Then you get to like the golden auction level. Like, okay, yeah, this is probably going to go for $30,000, $50,000. Like, even though the floor on the other ones might be like 5 at the time, let's say like Partner Strategy goes like 5K, you can get a 10x value on that on a certain mint, or even more. I mean, you've already seen that. Like, if you don't, how much was the 71 Partner statue?
a little over 10. It was about 11.
Okay, so yeah, like you already see that right now, and probably going to see that again in the future. Multiple sales that'll be over the floor, and again, that's if the floor only goes to 5K. The floor, if it goes to 10K, what's someone going to pay for a special mint? Like, a buddy of mine was just at a dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and it was $100,000 a plate, and it's like, and that's just for a plate, like a dinner, like that's just a dinner. What do you have to show for it? You ate the food. Like, okay, you can make some business contacts there, I'm sure, but like, my brother in Christ, do you know how many people are going to pay that much? Like, again, for things that you can't even show off. But then you have this that it can't be like, oh, Jeremy Padower losing all those collectibles in the fire. You can't burn digital collectibles. You can on your own if you want to for something else. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, Randy, so funny enough, you are the reason why I ended up with a gold logo. And I was like Doctor of Stuff. Shout out to Doctor of Stuff, Crypto Ring, because I watch you guys as well on Tuesdays. But I remember being out in the yard, and man, I would be taking my dog out, and I'm like, you be talking about that VeVe Golo, and you're like, I got my second one, and I'm like, oh, should I get one? Because just what you talked about, that networking ability to be with Dan, David, Alcon, all of these great people, not to mention the community members.
Yeah.
And man, I had off for a while, and I remember I was kicking myself because I could have got it at 2, and I didn't. But no matter what I paid for it, and I'm not gonna say what I paid for it at this point, but it's still less than what it is now. But it was the best investment. It is, I am a huge collector of Grail mints, and I love to mint hunt. But the VeVe Gold logo is by far my favorite. It's because the ability to really be with the community. There's a select group of them, to be able to, I mean, took a picture with David with a bunch of different collectors. It just, the experience pays for itself, and it's just invaluable. There's nothing that can compare to it, right? So funny story, Randy, I'll share this with you because I know Alcon, right? So my wife has never been, it was our first time going to New York Comic Con and a VeVe event in New York Comic Con. So when we went in with Mr. Hawk 181, shout out to Mr. Hawk 181. But we were in the elevator with Al Khan, right? So because he came in with us. So we're sitting there, we're chatting and that. So we get home, and my wife goes, so babe, who was the older guy we were talking to in the elevator? And when I told her, she like lost. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I said, that's the beauty of the VeVe Gold logo, right? To be able to meet people that you couldn't even dream of talking to in your wildest dreams. So I shout out to you because you are the reason why I have my VeVe Gold logo. I bought the physical as well. So I was not handed. I bought the VeVe Gold logo, and I was fortunate enough that the person that sold it to me also sent me the physical. So super excited about that. But so Randy, kind of talking through like the vision that you had when it came to Pokemon, right? With your Trophy Genghis-Khan, right?
Mhm.
So what do you see? Do you see that same type, or do you have that same type of feeling in regards to VeVe, like that, you know what, I know that you guys don't see it right now, but I definitely see it, and it's worth me putting my time and energy into, because I am confident that this is going to move forward.
Yeah, I mean this is the future. There's even like in the present, you see. I saw someone today that had purchased a Claynosaur's sweatshirt. Claynosaurs is one of those PFP projects that were similar to like Chimpers or Milady Makers, and but they're building a little bit of an IP. They're like dinosaurs that looks like they're made of clay. And somebody paid $144 for the sweatshirt. And now I don't know if this is like a cool character or not on there, but it looks. I don't know if I'd pay $144 for that. But again, it might be a cool character. There might be a limited amount of them. There might be, but I'm just thinking, and this person was like super pumped, be like, guys, hoodie secured. And now again, to some people, like maybe 100. I don't know what it costs to mint those. It might have been super cheap to mint those, and maybe this person's like doesn't have a ton of money, but really likes the community. So there could be a lot of good stuff about it. And again, I have heard of them before. But if this person is like pumped to get like a sweatshirt of an IP that, yeah, it's growing and it looks cool. I don't know anything about it aside from that. It looks cool, but if you're a hedge fund investor or any type of person that manages someone else's money, it's a lot easier to tell them, yeah, we're going to get the first Mickey Mouse on the blockchain or the first Spider-Man, as opposed to like, here's a pixelated version. Like if all of these other things were high end, even I'd be like, okay, we're going to take a gamble on this high end dinosaur. Every 5-year-old loves dinosaurs. They're cool. They're never going to fall out of style. But it's not like an IP like Land Before Time, or it's not like an IP like I'm not even sure what other dinosaurs. I'm sure like Meet the Robinsons, I guess, is another one. It's just really hard to create like that. Even people that say like, okay, these, well, our NFTs, we have a card game, and that's cool. do you know how many card games that are made every year? And like how there's Pokemon, there's Magic, there's Yu-Gi-Oh, and I mean, for board games there might be like there other stuff, but card games are so hard to make popular. Even MetaZoo, they were booming and they failed. So I'm not going to put a lot of stock in a lot of other people's IPs, where even the ones that I talk to, a lot of them, they don't have like the IP trademarked. They don't have revenues. It's just like what they're doing in their part-time business, and it's really hard. It's just a lot easier for people with money and that manage other money to be like, hey, we're going to go here because this is safe. The IP is here for a long time. This is the only company like Cryptoys today. They rebranded to DigiToys.
Yeah,
I think that's good. I think that's good. They did that because it's a lot easier to market, but they did have to get bought. I think they got bought by either Pudgy Penguins or Abstract. They're on Abstract Chain, but it's just aside from them, nobody else like survived. And even if they are, I think Elmont X did, but there's not a lot of other people that are getting a lot of traction, and VeVe's still crushing it. So regardless of how people do get into Web3 and into collecting, all roads I think will lead to VeVe, because again, these aren't JPEGs. Like they're super high end, and the models are incredible. Even Cryptoys they're not JPEGs, but it is kind of one type of animation. It's one type of model, which we kind of have with the Marvel Mighties. But there's so many different ways to collect on VeVe, and it's like everyone has their favorite Pokemon, and every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. You're probably going to find something like that on VeVe. Like I crap on the Cryptkins all the time, but they're one of my favorite sets because I love the supernatural, I love the weird, and that's cool. Again, that's one of the things I don't think people should buy for an ROI, because it's probably not going to move, but I love it. So yeah.
And you make a valid point. There are certain things that I buy on VeVe that, like, I'm a huge man, but there's certain things I'm like, I don't care what the man is, I just want it, right?
Yeah.
I don't really need a special mint for this. I just want it. Predator, I need it, right? But the certain ones like the partner statue or the Vader, it's like I want a significant mint to go with that piece because it's a historic piece, right?
Yeah.
But there are three other areas that I want to touch on, Randy, with you. One is going to be your VeVe Gold logo sale with Rayfax. So I want to touch on that. And then I want to touch on DaCat. And then I want you to educate me a little bit more on Pokemon, because it's something that I need. So let's jump into your sale for your VeVe Gold logo. How did that? Obviously, I knew that you had the set. You sold the first part to him without the VeVe Gold logo, and then you set the bar, Randy. I think that's the top sale for the VeVe Gold, well, VeVe Gold logo for sure, but for 2026, even possibly 20, up until like the Golden Moments, Secret Rare, Spider-Man, and partner selling. So how did that come about, and like how did it feel once that sale actually went through? And were you heartbroken when it was no longer in your collection?
It started years ago when they dropped the other colored logos, the red, the green, and I was like, I wonder. And I got one, I got two, I got the hardest one was the red one, where this guy from Spain was being really persnickety. He was being like a douchebag. He was just like 10 grand. Like, I know what I have. It's like somebody that comes in like with like a real beat up car and be like, I know what I have. It's like, bro, your car is worth poop.
The commercials with the cyclist, like, I want to trade this in for a new one.
Yeah. So I was like, and I knew the market was already on like the downward trend at that time. I was like, listen, I'm offering you this right now. This offer will not last. And I didn't even have the money at the time for the offer that I was making, but I knew he wouldn't take it. So I was like, okay. A month goes by. Hey, any interest in that 41? And I knew no one was going to come close to his price. He was major Delulu. He's like, yeah, there's a couple people I'm talking to, and I knew there wasn't. Or even if there was, I knew that they weren't serious. I was like, okay, well, there need no problem. And then the guy's like, hey, is that offer like a month later? Is that offer still on the table? Nope. And then I was just like, listen, this one piece alone is not going to be worth it to like, you could have one and that's fine. It's like a normal collector, but that's not going to outperform like OMI. Like I'd rather just kind of stack the OMI, and I beat him up. Like I beat him the heck up. I was like, this is not gonna be like worth much. Like there's no utility for these. These aren't like look at the floors at these prices. Like I wanted to just complete the set and be cool, but the floors were already minuscule to begin with. There's no promise of utility. There's no anything with this, and like they're just going to keep going down, as is the rest of the market. And then finally, I get it for a really good price, and I even say it's like, and I'll obviously always fulfill my promises. Whatever, I think it was like $1,000 plus like a bottle of whatever he wants whenever the next time I go to Spain. And he's like, okay, deal. And we'll hold on to that deal, bottle of whatever he wants next time I go to Spain. And then Raythax contacted me about the logos like a year after or 2 years after. I was like, yeah, it'd be really cool. We'd have like we'd have I really would only do it if we could do it as a package deal. I used Captain America's line from when Tony brings out the pens that FDR used to sign the Lend-Lease Act, and then Cap's like, because he wants him to sign the Paris Accords, like the agreements for that, and Cap gets mad at him because he's like trapped Wanda in there. He's like, he was about to storm off. He's like, and he goes and brings back the pen. He's like, I'd hate to break up a set. So again, the autism rang strong in that one, and I got that's the line he's right there. It's like, I would only do it to another collector like you, and I'd only do it if we could eventually reunite these, because I'd hate to break up the set. He's like, okay, so we have the deal for the other ones, and then he has some type of practice in medicine or psychology or mental health or something, and he's like, we have these different things that we need to do, and so we had to hold off on that deal for like several months, and then eventually here's where like the masterclass comes in. I've seen houses sold because people throw in like, we'll do a free this check, free rain and gutter stuff for like a year, free like whatever. And even like in the high risk lending, it'd be like, we had this thing called credit repair. My good friend Teresa is like a lot of these credit repair places, they charge you like a couple $100 a month, and they take off like one thing each month. And it's like, see, we got this thing off, it's working. And you don't have to do that. You could do everything all at once. So that's what she does. She just everything all at once. So for these like $50,000 deals, and she would charge a couple $100 a month. For these like big $50,000 deals, or even 100, like the things that would put them over the top is free credit repair. It's like, the credit repair usually costs a couple $100 per month. Give it to you for free, for the first couple months or the first 6 months, whatever. And I just talked to Teresa, like, hey, I'll share with you my commission if you do this. She's like, sure, no problem. And again, like it's these insane things that happen just because the little things push them over the top. So I told him, he still never sent me his address. I was like, we'll have this 20K deal for this. I'll give you the card that like the actual card that it came with, that used to mint it, the number 41 hat, and I think something else was supposed to give him. Forget what, but once he sends me the address, I have no problem sending that to him. And yeah, so that's the that was how we got the deal done. It was 20K plus the extras, the hat and the card, and then one other thing. So that was how it came to it. And again, just doing it for the headline because got a bit of OMI when there. That was nice.
Excellent. Now, how did you feel once it was sold?
Happy. I feel like Lance in at the end of Pokemon Gold and Crystal and Silver is like, I'm sad that I was beat, but I'm happy that I witnessed the rise of a great new champion. I'm happy that it came together like that, and we were able to do it for the headline for VeVe. So that was really special. So bittersweet, bitter in that, had to leave, but sweet in its release of going to another collector. We got the headline. So all in all, very positive though.
All right, brother. So let's switch to the project that you are heading up, your project, DaCat Comics.
Okay.
So kind of walk us through, like, how did it, yeah, there we go. So how did it come about, where you're at with the project, and what can we expect?
This was I don't know if this is the Lord. I don't know if this is it's not my theory, although I did come to it independently, that probably a simulation. And where this is a game and somebody is playing, I'm just the avatar and somebody else is playing. And it's that years ago, like 2023, Pro the Doge said, like, I believe I found the next viral meme coin. And I was like, okay, well, he's Pro the Doge, like he's made his living on, like, being the Dogecoin millionaire. So it's like, okay, if anyone can bring something to a token, it might be him. And put a little bit of money into this thing called Grumpy Cat. And then we actually got the original Grumpy Cat owner on the what do you call it? On the on a space. At the time was Twitter. And it was up to like a $30 million market cap. And then it just on there, he's like, this is not real. This is not these guys are scammers. They did not get our permission for this. And it's like, ugh. So it just tanked like immediately, and Pro and everyone got a really big like lawyer, and this is like the first legal battle of its kind of saying, like, can you own a face? Like, can you own a dwarfism? Like, he happened to have a cat that had dwarfism. That's what gave him the puss, like the grumpy cat face. Turns out you can't. But he was just filing appeals and he just he just wanted the token. Like, he actually, the original Grumpy Cat owner of the actual cat wound up taking over like the coin, burned it absolutely into the ground because he didn't know what he was doing. And we had rebranded to DaCat. They had airdropped us new DaCat tokens, and then everyone was just like, hey, we raised a bunch of ETH for this. They put it into a liquidity pool, locked it for 1,000 years, so it's locked up for another 997 years. And they said, like, have it, all right, community takeover. And I was so this was in like 2024, late 2024. They asked me, like, hey, can you the community asked me, because I never sold, I had my stuff. I was just checked in on the Telegram every now and then. They're like, hey, we have like this comic, do you think we can get it on VeVe? And I was like, yeah, I probably could. I could talk to David, like, there's a decent community here. Yeah, I probably could. And I get the comic, and it was like not good at all. Like, it was DaCat going to a bakery, and the baker of the bakery is just like, is like this really weird old cat that everyone thought was a little crazy, but he baked wicked good bread. He's like, yes, the frogs are going to attack us all. And then, like, meteors start coming down. And it's like, oh, maybe the dude was right. But there was like no reason for the frogs to attack. There was no, it was not good. So I was like, listen, guys, if I wanted to get this on VeVe, like, I could, but this is not going to sell. Even if it does, like, this is just not good. Like, okay, how would you do it? And I was like, I would, I don't know, like, what characters do we have? Like, what is, like, DaCat is obviously the main one, but there are frogs, and like, yeah, that we want them to be Pepe. And I don't know who I still don't know who controls Pepe. And I was like, okay, we can have the frogs be like Pepe's, and what other characters? And like, okay, well, then the idea started, we can get other characters. We can get Squid Grow Joe and Wendio, and we wanted the creators of T-Ball in there. We wanted like a bunch of different people. And then as I was starting to write this thing, Wendy, I guess, was supporting Squid Grow. And the Squid Grow people are cool peeps. They've been on my channel a lot, just rating. I asked her, I was like, okay, well, Squid Grow is obviously, Joe is like the leader, or, okay, let me put him as leader. I'll put him and Wendio as like ruler, king and queen. So I go to ask her, like, hey, ideas on your character. Right now, you're just married to Squid Gojo, and she's like, oh no, I don't want to be married. Like I just want to be someone that supports them. I was like, okay, well, I can make your character, I guess, important, but not be royalty. I guess I'm trying to think of what she could be. I was like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. And then Pro the Doge obviously wanted to be involved, but long story short, it's just we would have had to share the credit and presumably some of the profits with everyone else. And it was like, guys, there's not going to be that much money in this. And especially if we want to like draw it, because they got this like Marvel artist which wanted like $400 a page. I was like, this is so much. So I was like, okay, let me rewrite this as people as just make it our characters. So they said, okay, you take the IP. So we have DaCat Chronicles. That's mine. It is separate from the token, but it's connected in that some of the profits are going to use to go buybacks of the token. We already do have on our balance sheet, we have a couple trillion DaCat tokens, which is like a couple grand. It's not a lot. We do have 7 million OMI, and then we do have I think like 1,000 Devi tokens, which right now is worth like nothing. But when when I tried to write for Wendio and Squid Joe as like leaders, like it just didn't flow right. But then I remade them. Okay, instead of squids, they'll be mollusks. And Manny and Maria the mollusk are brother and sister leaders, like they're royalty, but they lead as brother and sister, and that flowed super well, and everything just started falling into place. Started raising money by having other communities come in. So you had Crappy Bird, you had Sharby, and you had Chaos on the Chains that wanted to come in. And Crappy Bird has 2 amazing speeches, and I didn't like plan it. It's like, okay, how does Crappy Bird get his bird world to get behind him to help cats with this frog invasion, and then why do the frogs invade? So there's a bunch of storylines going on that get teased, but you get the birds that come to show up. You get this huge battle at the end, which is beautiful, and the artist is great. So what you have there is just like a quick training session with the cat, and that's me, that's Randy with the scar, and that's actually supposed to be so we changed that a bit. Fanny that character is Fanny, but it's drawn as it's supposed to be Sharby, because Sharby is supposed to be a little bit more voluptuous. So the artist got confused at first, and they drew Sharby for Fanny's character. I'll show you Fanny's character though. Fanny obviously being Fanny Carbonell. Where is my media? So that is Fanny, and
nice. Okay.
So replace the purple dog thing with her. We started getting, but as we started writing, like none of this could fit in 24 or 26 pages. So it became 30, 40, and now the final thing is probably going to be like 80 pages, which is a lot. So we're going to charge $10 per comic instead of 7, because you get 80 pages, and it's all really good. It's action packed. So there's cats, obviously. There's humans. Pro the Doge from Dog World. Crappy Bird from Bird World. There's the Frog World, and then Sharby, who doesn't have a huge thing in this, but she's from her own world. So there's 6 worlds out there, and they're at least in the solar. Oh, and then there's Mollusk World, so I guess 7. But there's like 16 first appearances in here. There's a lot, and out of that, and that my favorites are Pro the Doge, Maria the Mollusk, and Randy the cat. Those I think are going to be the breakout characters that people like. And again, Crappy Bird has these epic speeches. Like I didn't, when I write, it's like I don't plan it. It's like I'm somehow accessing another universe that actually already exists and just putting it on paper. Like I didn't mean for the Crappy Bird to get these 2 like amazing speeches. Like, and they took me like a couple days to write, but they are. And we didn't want him to have the only like epic speeches, so I had to write a small speech for DaCat as well, and that flowed pretty well. I feel like I'm going on really long about this, but yeah, that's kind of how it came together, and we're almost done. So we're hopefully we'll get like a May release on VeVe.
Nice, nice. So, guys, make sure that when it drops, we will let you know. We'll be one of the first to let you know, so you can pick up a copy of DaCat Chronicles. And Randy, just FYI, it looks amazing. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there was no skimping on this. It looks great so far. So I am very interested to take a look at it once it does come out. So make sure to let us know.
There's
now, Randy,
we'll do in a physical print as well as the digital. So about 2026 digital and 2000 physical. So the 2000 physical, there's going to be 20 of them that'll be separate covers, and like 5 of those have sold already. So they're because the special covers are going to be like 150, 250. The other ones are just going to be same thing, $10 each, because people want to match their digitals.
All right, we're going to be on the lookout for that. Well, Randy, I'm going to ask you one more subject. I know we're at time. I want to be mindful because I know that you're a busy man.
Oh, yeah, we can go over a few minutes. We're good. We're Gucci.
Fair enough. Randy, I need you to educate me on Pokemon, right?
Okay.
So now a quick question for you. So when you were really into Pokemon, did you do like the tournaments and regionals or anything like that? Or was it just more or less collecting and like gameplay with a few people?
More just collecting. Like I knew how to battle, but I just I lived really far away from a Toys R Us, and that's where you would go to do those tournaments and those battles. And like my parents would never take me, so I was like, okay, I'll just mostly just collect, and then when friends come over that knew how to battle, then we would do that. But I was pretty good at it though.
Okay. So Randy, for a person that's starting out like fresh to Pokemon, what would be advice from you on like how to get started, where to start at, what to focus on?
I guess it depends what they want out of it. Do they want to game in their free time to de-stress? Do they want to make money with it? Do they just want to veg out and be entertained without having to play a game? Like, so I guess depending on where they're, what are they looking for?
Let's say that they want a game. You know, they want to get interested, learn a little bit, and then start gaming and having some fun with it. Because we're all about connecting with other collectors, right? So
yeah. So there's multiple ways to go about gaming. You have the OG games, Red and Blue, which are incredible. The mechanics are sometimes a little wonky, and it's not like today's Pokemon games where it's super like babyish. Like you could like the tutorials last forever, and it's very easy. The older games they're still beatable, like very easily beatable, but it's not like for babies. So Red and Blue are really good with that. If you do get stuck in a position or stuck like nowadays, you can go online and watch like a playthrough or how-to video. And there's a couple of parts where it's like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? And it's like, okay, well, you need to talk to, did you get this HM? No. Talk to this person. You go here, go to this house. And because like the Safari Zone, if you don't know where to go, what to look for, it's like you don't know that you have to find the game corner guy. You don't know that you have to find the gold teeth. You don't know that you have to do all these things to get the HM strength and other HMs. So you have to go in and know how to do that. Victory Road can be confusing with the strength puzzles, but that's for the OG where it all started. And these are turn-based games. They are RPGs. If you want something that is a little bit more engaging, that's not an RPG where you could just spam like an attack button, Pokemon Rumble is really good. Rumble is the game. I think it started out on Wii U or Wii, and then you can get it on like DS as well. You start off as like a Pikachu. You go through this level, and it's like kind of like a hack and slash. You can mash it. Each Pokemon has their own move. Like Geodude has Rock Throw. Pikachu has like Thunder Shock. Charmander has like Ember, and you can go and get throughout all of them, throughout the level, you get all of those Pokemon, and then they kind of join your party. You can use any of them in the next level, and they get harder and harder, and the Pokemon you get are better and better. You get some evolved forms. That's really cool. Fellow autists will love Pokemon Pinball. The first one is hard. One, they made it so you can't catch Mew. The amount of times that the ball would have to hit Mew would just be impossible in the allotted time. Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, a lot better mechanics, a lot of fun, much better graphics. So that's really fun. And then if you want to learn how to play the card game, there is a Pokemon TCG, like actual game that you could play, and it shows you how to build a deck. It gives you a starter deck, and then it shows you, okay, you want to do a water deck, an electric deck, fire deck, and then it gets you really good at battling, and it's very unforgiving. It's not like TCG Pocket now, where you get an energy every turn. Like there are some times you will go and you won't get an energy for like 3-4 turns, and you're just like, I'm just getting attacked and I can't attack, and it's hard. It's fun though. It's a lot of fun. So there's so many different ways to go, but the OG Pokemon, probably a good game to start out with.
Perfect. So Randy, before I let you go, we got to do a lightning round where I'm going to ask you 6 quick questions right off the top of your head, no thinking. You let me know the answer. And then after that, we'll just chat for a few minutes offline and then just go from there. Are you ready? The
Sure.
real Randy Chavez. All right, let's do it. Favorite Pokemon?
Oh God, Bulbasaur. Said it without thinking. But yes, Bulbasaur is cool.
Favorite VeVe collectible?
Oh God, why did I say Finn? I would say the gold logo. My first thought was Finn because that's what we talked about before, but I'd say gold logo.
Okay, outside of the gold logo, let's exclude you.
Alligator Loki, I guess.
And you have what, like 200 and something?
I got
of them? I got
200 plus of them. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Most underrated collectible right now?
One of the rare comics, or one. Yeah, I'd say one of the rare comics as of right now.
Okay. Let's see. Most overrated collectible?
Ooh, overrated. Not going to be specific. I guess I would have two. One would be special mints that aren't special mints. Be like, this is the artist's birthday of like a collectible. It's like, if it's for a comic, okay, mate, but it's like there's some that really reach. But as far as actual that overrated that people really like, that I don't want to say they shouldn't, but maybe it has a little more value than there should be. Probably, honestly, probably some of the old school stuff. Like I would say the what are those called? The Ghostbuster logo things. Like the floor's like $15,000, and like I know they're super rare, but like I don't know how many people are gonna want those. Like you can get like the normal ones that are like one of 4,000 and not one of 100. I'd say maybe Donnie as well, because do you want to spend 20K on one for this horse this transgender horse that thinks it's a unicorn that you didn't know about until VeVe, because nobody watched the reboot. Maybe you did watch the reboot of Powerpuff Girls. I don't know, but so I would say Donnie or the Ghostbuster logos.
Okay. Give me one physical Grail that you would love to have.
Oh, on that is represented on VeVe or anything?
Nope, physical. Yep.
I want my trophy Kangaskhan back. The other two that I would get is either the 3rd place trophy Pikachu or the super secret battle promo that has Mewtwo holding like a Pokeball, and that's so good. Yeah.
Fair enough. Now, your favorite digital collectible Grail that you want?
Digital that I would say I have the gold logo. I have the secret rare logo. I have 3 partners. I guess either AF-15 secret rare, because I think Squeebs has like 40 of
Yes.
those, which is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say that or Miles. Miles is God, that's such a sweet one. And that same thing, that's like 10,000. You know, there's like $10,000. Maybe it's not anymore. Maybe it's like 8 or 6, but still, those two are pretty dope.
Okay. And my last question: what is a dream collab that you want to do with someone?
Um, I guess there's two that come to mind right now. Um, well, I guess four. With I guess two with me, two with the cat IP. Um, the two with me would be with like Gary Vaynerchuk, doing something with him, which I've had him talk, like, you know, a couple of times, um, and that's cool. He's a good guy. Adam Weitzman's another one who I'll should be getting on the podcast soon. He said he'd come on, but also because like I can show him like, hey, here's like, I could show him VeVe, and then I could show him like, hey, here's some other things that are stupid, undervalued. Nothing to do with digital collecting. These are just companies. Some are startups, some are not. And then just if I can help make him a bunch of money, which he already had, like he's already a billionaire, but if I could help make him a bunch of money, then suddenly I'm his like go-to guy for crypto, and then I can, yeah, I can make some money on like some commissions at some point later in life. For DaCat though, either Marvel or DC, like some type of crossover with them. Like Ruby had a crossover with I think Justice League, with like Wonder Woman. So I think something like that, and even like so DaCat doing any type of crossover with them, um, with like a Ruby or Marvel or Justice League. I was even bought out by one of them. But also obviously it would be like Pokemon. Like it'd be like a Pokemon crossover. I don't know how we do it, because you know all of our animals speak human, like they speak English words. Um,
So no, we can
or
be good.
I mean that would be a cool thing because it wouldn't be like Mewtwo, because there are things that are not mentioned in the first book that called like unevolved, where it's like, oh, here's where we evolved, here's where cats evolved from, and they're like little four-legged, you know, meow meow, and so they do still exist in the galaxy. We'll get to that in like book 5. But yeah, that'd be a cool crossover. Be like, so you guys are unevolved, and it's like, what does that mean? And it's just like, no, see, they do evolve. It's like, no, but they still don't. They can understand you, and you can kind of understand them, but can't speak the same language really. Psychic Pokemon can, and Meowth can be a translator from Team Rocket. But I think that would be really cool. And maybe one day in 10, 15 years when this gets super popular, I can probably will that to happen.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, guys, we want to thank Mr. Randy Chavez for coming and joining us for Comics and Collectibles Convo. But Randy, before we jump off, would you mind sharing your socials with everyone and maybe some last words if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone go smash the like button over here. So I just did that. The socials where you could most easily find me would probably be X, which is at Real Randy Chavez. That's going to be the probably the easiest one you could find me on. Instagram, same thing. I think it's at the Real Randy Chavez. So yeah, the. But yeah, those are the two. Where but mostly X. I don't really pay attention to a lot of other stuff. And even in X, if you message me and I don't answer, just message me again, because I probably didn't see it. So don't feel bad like triple texting me, because that might be what it takes. I guess final words is don't. I I did all of this with just a high school diploma, and I got partnered with YouTube with just a phone. It doesn't take this crazy pieces of equipment. It doesn't take. It's just grinding and don't be afraid to lean into who you are, like that. Like whatever you like, whatever like I don't know, whatever makes you you and whatever makes you different, lean into that. I don't know if it's a Dr. Seuss quote that, you know, the talking about bullying is like, oh, they laugh at me because I'm different. It's like, well, I laugh at you because you're all the same. Um, Yeah, a lot, sometimes in social settings they're like, okay, just can you be normal? Can you like, like chill, bring it down a couple notches? And sure, there's definitely times to do that, but um I feel like that's part of my success. I got really good at finance, so I can blend in the finance and with the collecting, but I also throw in a bunch of pop culture references, which nobody else does. I don't see any other person doing that. And I have to think that that's what really helps. That's what helped me kind of pull ahead and um yeah, and be useful. You can be useful to people and bring value to people, value will come to you. Like I said before, people just come to me with all sorts of information, and it's great. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Randy. And thank you, collectors. So, once again, thank you guys for tuning in. What I want to say is, as always, collect what you love, connect with the community. This coming Sunday, we have a special treat. We have On My Way from the VeVe team that will be joining us on Sunday at 5 p.m. EST. And then we'll also have Jan Collects, or Jan will be joining the following week. So, we hope that you guys have a wonderful week and enjoy collecting. Thank you again.